in the second grade, teacher asked us to figure out by the end of the week what you want to do. So, I wanted to be a fireman first, and I wanted to be a veterinarian, and then I was reading about, I don't know what I was doing, reading it in the second grade, about Da Vinci and Michelangelo. And they both never retired, and I thought that was for me, because at that time, retired men died within 2 years. So move fast forward, I excelled, I guess, in the arts and failed in the languages. And then I went to UC Valley College, where I met Fidel Daniele, and he pushed me to go to CalArts. And in 1969, then he said, I want you to do one thing first. Go to Venice Beach, introduce yourself to Larry Bell and Dwayne Valentine. Well, I went and knocked on Larry Bell's door. Later to find out he was deaf, he never heard me. I went to Dwayne's and stayed for a couple of days. And that really gave me a spark. Then I had a horrible neck injury and moved to Laguna Beach. When I healed from that in the early 80s, I went to UC Irvine, where I met Tom Jenkins, was a really great guy. He put me in touch with my lineage, boat building, fisherman stuff. Got to do that, and then he said, I want you to only draw things dealing with squares. So I did that for almost 2 years. And then that's where I introduced the wave pattern to make the arias. Brian Hunt, really well-known artist, would make the airships, but they were static, so I wanted to make that and move that. And then that's when the organic work really started. I was telling Jan Taylor the other day, I wanted to be able to create a universe or a quasar or something that was understandable in a scale that we could look at it. And that's what I'm continuing to work on. I have really two veins of work. Because of building hot rods and working with cars, I have the highly polished sections of fenders and stuff, and I really like cars. My heart is really with the organic work, astrophysics infused. At this point in my career, or in my life, it's I really kind of have to focus on one thing, and it's going to wind up being the work that'll be in this show. One of this group. It's a binary. There's a little star and a small star, and to me it represents relationships. One starts out dominant, and it usually winds up, it turns the other way. So I have it moving, and then the shape itself is like a DNA chromosome. And the Madam X's are all based on a DNA chromosome. That's the motivation for that. But these works I always wanted to be really more organic. And what I was talking about earlier is this piece here is the biomorphic and the astrophysics meeting at the same place within a containable, you can kind of play with it and understand. This has the binary shapes as well, the larger and the smaller. The materials I used to use poplar, bending poplar, and I'd have to heat it up. Now what I do is I use rattan, and I still have to heat it up sometimes. And it's Baltic birch in the middle and then resin. But in the past I've done bodies of work where the wall is flush and the pieces go into the interior. On this one, it's at that point. It's that proverbial white box that we have, and I wanted the piece to come out, and I wanted to rise instead of fall. If you put it upside down, it has entirely different connotations. Around the edges is where the soft mold went. I really like leaving that. In the past, I would sand in it. I was actually thinking too much about the surface and not enough about what it really is. So this is more connected to what it is. I've been asked quite a bit about the scale of the work because it's increased in scale quite a bit. When I first started out, I was quite a bit younger, and I could take the structures and the molds and pour the resin in them and walk around and turn it, but that's for 4 or 5 or 6 hours. And then it started becoming difficult, so that's when I made the gimbals, where I could put the work in there and then keep that moving, and I didn't have to maintain the weight of the piece. But then after a while, and if I'm by myself, there's no food break or restroom break or anything, so I motorized them, which really helped. But the big pieces, like the big Madam X, the 16-foot ones, what I did is I made a big gimbal. It's outside, and I built a structure because I've been asked about how do you get, is that solid resin? No, it's really thin resin. Well, how do you get it to stay together? Well, that's what the wood structures are all about. And then I have the polyethylene to hold on the soft mold on it. so that I can pour it. The first big Matamex we did, we had it outside, and I had 5 people on the roof and maybe 10 down. We had a barbecue and a party, which we always do, and we're turning it around and we're turning it around. And at the end of the day, a buddy taps me on the back and he goes, "That was an incredible experience. Don't ever ask me to do that again."